Hello, friends, and welcome to this week's, what do I call this thing? Is it a chapter review? Is it a chapter overview? I don't even remember anymore. Uh, very professional, Rowan, very professional. Anyways, we're back with another chapter of One Piece. This time it is chapter 1008, leader of the Atamayama Thieves Brigade, Ashura Doji. Our cover page this year, cover page thingy illustration from Oda is Robin with a horse that wants to fly that gets turned into Pegasus with help from Robin. Although granted, from what we know of Shinfleur, that probably won't last very long for that poor horse, but that's okay. Anyways, with this chapter, it starts out with by picking up right where we left off with the Oda reveal, and he says that he's back from the past with the help of Toki's power. Some of the scabbards are, of course, happy and such, but then Ashura Doji points out that he's got to be fake because, of course, just like a lot of people were pointing out on Reddit and such, mankind cannot return to the past. So it can't be Odin because, he's got to go to the past. And then it turns out the fan theory that it was Kanjuro is, of course, correct. This is just a painting of Odin from Kanjuro. And apparently he wasn't finished off before. So, as expected, Kanjuro is still alive, and he's causing more chaos. And this also implies that the person that saved them was not this Odin, or the silhouette that helped the scabbards is probably not this Odin copy, because if it was, he probably just would have stabbed them when they're all down, It makes no sense for him to heal them and then strike them down once more, unless he's just being that much of an asshole, which, knowing Kanjuro, it is very possible. And then Ashura Doji presumably sacrifices himself here, tackling Odin as he jumps out in a big explosion, that sort of deal. I can't help but be skeptical that this killed him. I don't know. Explosions vary in lethality in One Piece. In the very beginning, I mean, Pell survived the big bomb over Alabasta, but then, of course, Pedro got killed by a similar amount of explosions as this. So it's hard to tell if this sacrifice is for real or not. But regardless, the scabbards are pissed. Kinemon is out for blood, and then Jack comes into play once more, and it looks like we're having a Meek versus Jack rematch once more. And then it's revealed that Orochi isn't dead either, which, I mean, don't think anyone's really surprised here. We were kind of... I wasn't entirely certain. From the beginning, I was like, okay, he's a Hydra, the Yamata no Orochi, and cutting off one head is not going to be enough to kill him because he has multiple, So, sure enough, he's back up, and it seems like he's just setting fire to Kaido's castle. It's going to be interesting to see how this changes the power dynamic, because he's also going to be against the Beast Pirates now, but he's also not going to be allied with the Samurai either. So it'll be interesting to see where Orochi's faction will come into play here. A little bit more just like we check in with Momonosuke's group, Yamato really wants a chance to join the fight against Kaido, but I'm interested to see uh, like where that happens. I did miss this panel earlier where Momonosuke was saying Luffy is greatly weakened, but somehow he's still fine. And then um, uh, Shinobu being surprised on how he knows that. Um, I missed that when I was read it earlier, so that's interesting. I'm wondering if that has something to do with like how they both were able to hear Zoe, and it's like the voice of all things or whatever it's called. Um, that's quite likely that they share some sort of like mental connection like that. So that's very interesting. One thing I completely missed on my first read through. Let's see here. And then we cut back to the Kaido battle. And it seems like our worst generation is really struggling here. It seems like Luffy's really getting the hang of his gears, because he's able to get right back up and move just fine. But yeah, their goal now is to split up the two Yonko and get them apart from each other, because otherwise it's kind of a hard battle. That of course does not shake Luffy, and seems like Kaido's having a lot of fun with this battle. Something that he may not have been having with many of his battles up until now. But yeah, honestly, I felt this chapter was okay. I mean, the reveal that the Odin was fake was not particularly surprising or anything, nor was the reveal that Kanjuro and Orochi were alive. It was kind of the inevitable reveal that like these things that were going to happen were confirmed that they happened. It felt a lot like a in-between chapter, and Doji's sacrifice, it feels underwhelming. I mean, we don't know Doji very well to begin with, so there's not like a lot of emotional impact to his death, in my opinion. Additionally, he I don't know for certain that he's actually dead or not. That's the problem that Oda has with actually killing people, like because he's not consistent with actually killing people. I don't count on his deaths to be meaningful, you know, which is unfortunate. I would like to have a One Piece where every on-screen death is impactful, but like there's just been too many examples of a fake out death, and it's like, okay, I can't, until we have another character saying that yes, this character is dead, I'm not going to believe it. Next chapter is April 4th, so we get another one next week, which is very good. We don't like our breaks, although we want Oda to be well rested and such. We're going to switch over to Reddit and see what people have to say. So first top comment right now is, glad to see it confirmed that Orochi can get his head cut off multiple times. I can't wait to see him lose even more heads. Yeah, that is true. We get to see a beheading of Orochi over and over again. Very nicely, very nicely. And then someone was trying to say that was maybe a Kanjuro clone, but that was refuted with that statement. So yeah, it was the real Orochi. He just has revive full abilities, and that sort of thing. Yeah, it really does seem like in order to kill Orochi, you're probably gonna have to chop off all 8 heads at once. Or, as Sane says, just throw them in the ocean. The more chapters pass in Wano, the more I'm scared of Big Mom. I know Kaido's the focus of the raid, and the point is to take him down, but just look at the panel of them standing side by side. Big Mom does not have a single bruise, not a single one. A complete anomaly. Yeah, she seems fine. Of course, I mean, Kaido also seems fine here. He's like a little scuffed up on his face, but like, Um, yeah, Big Mom's just kind of staying there unscathed. It's kind of wild. Um, but she is the ranged fighter, as this guy says, um, which complements fighting with a Kaido very well. Um, PK Rock and Roll. I see him every week when we do these reviews. Uh, he's got a wonderful Ness avatar. I think one of Luffy's greatest strengths, and part of what makes him so dangerous to fight, is that he sees everyone he encounters as another human like him. Which means not only can he relate to anyone as an ally, but he can also sees enemies as something he can overcome or defeat. Most people see Kaido and Big Mom as insurmountable monsters and beasts. I mean, rightfully so, but Luffy sees them as just as mortal as anyone. That and his sheer tenacity, it's incredible. Yes, that is something I kind of glossed over here. There was like a couple panels here where Luffy's biggest quote this chapter was, "They're just as human as we are." And the other worst generations are like, "Wow, I'm amazed he can call them the same species as us." And then the other worst generations go ahead and say they want to peel them off from each other and such. Wow, the pages are kind of glitching up here, aren't they? That's fine. But yes, he sees any enemy as something he can overcome or defeat, and that's how he perseveres, as they're saying here. Very good analysis from them. I'm glad that Oda wrapped up the Oden mystery quickly. He could have kept us in the dark for months if he wanted to. Yeah, I'm glad too. Like, in the back of our minds, most of us knew that Oden, there's no way that Oden could have been real. So it's nice that he wrapped it up and got this situation out of the way nice and quickly, which was nice. It would have been annoying if they had played us along for a while and then it was like, oh, it's Kanjuro after all. It was like last chapter of the last panel of last chapter was when he showed up, and then 2 or 3 chapters or panels into this chapter, he's already been unmasked, which thankfully I am super glad for that. I wouldn't have wanted to hear the ongoing theories of what this Oden is to keep going and going and going. That would have been kind of annoying. PC screen says Ashura absolutely meant it when he stated he was no different to the other scabbards, despite being when he stated he was no different to the other scabbards. Despite being almost completely certain this Oden was a fake, he only cut the fake Oden's cheek instead of dealing a full-blown attack. Deep down, Ashura wished for this Oden to be the real deal, so he couldn't risk attacking him head-on. That ended up leaving him open to a frontal attack by Kanjuro, which is how he got impaled so easily. I missed him getting impaled. I missed a lot this chapter, apparently. I know he got blown up. Kanjuro. Oh yeah, he got ran through right there. Okay. Wow, okay, so yeah, that makes me feel like Kanjuro actually did sacrifice himself, though, because he was run through, so he's like, alright, there's nothing left for me to live for, there's no way I'm gonna survive, yeah, he says, and I'm deeply wounded, I expect I will die in this battle. Wow, I've missed a lot this chapter. And so yeah, him getting blown up makes more sense. He probably is dead. That's better then. Okay, that makes me feel better. Makes this chapter a little bit better in my opinion. I've been to Hell Neck a few times already in its home territory. Yeah, that is a cool line. I I feel like I'm wondering what things he's referencing. 'Cause one of those is definitely impelled down. Like that's got to be hell, right? Um, and then would Ace's death be considered the other hell, or would it be something else, or other times that he's been close to death? Maybe hard to say. Luffy seems more energetic than usual in his weakened state. Um, yeah, this is a big thing. Why is no one talking about how Momo knew that? Uh, I'm surprised. Yeah, I haven't seen too many things about that. I'm interested to see if I can find a comment talking about that. This guy says Momonosuke has likely shown observation hockey, um, but we're also considering voice of all things. Um, Monster Point Momo incoming. That would be cool if Chopper passed him a Rumble Ball, though we haven't seen Chopper's Rumble Ball effect on other creatures. He'd probably also lose control, which would be not great, because then we just have Angry Dragon Momonosuke going around, which would be probably not super useful for the raid. Yeah, this is probably going to be... Oh, okay. So in terms of why Momo can see what's going on the roof, don't forget that according to chapter 821, he can see what Zunisha sees. Which, of course, that means that Zunisha is nearby. I don't remember if that was confirmed or not that Zunisha was nearby, but how else would the Minx be here? So yeah, that'd be cool. Just having Onigashima with Zunisha looming in the background. That would be really cool, yes. It would also be a way to stop Onigashima from landing on the capital. Maybe that might kill Zunisha though, which would mean that Zo would have to be located on Wano now, which I feel like that would be fine considering how the two places are inherently linked together, you know? Yeah. Yeah, okay. And to end us off here, fuck Kanjuro. All my homies hate Kanjuro. Don't think I've forgotten about you either, Orochi. Yeah, that's just kind of the general consensus of our fan base at this moment. But anyways, chapter 1008, okay chapter, kind of a in-between chapter in my opinion. The fights are kind of winding down a little bit, though I imagine them to come right back up in a moment. And I don't know, very, very in between chapter in my opinion. Even with Doji's death being like more and more likely, I still think it's a okay chapter. But I look forward to what Oda has for us next week. And I will be back here with another review at that point. And until then, I wish you well, and I'll catch you on the flip.